G'day and welcome back to a special video. I thought it's been a while since we did something slightly harder on the channel. This is a puzzle I put out recently for free on my Patreon um, because I spent a month trying to make this work as a Christmas bonus for James Sinclair, friend of the channel. If you don't subscribe to Artisanal Sudoku, you should. It's on Substack. It's free. There's good puzzles. Um, I drew him in the Cracking the Cryptic Discord server, Secret Santa, and I tried so hard to make this puzzle work. I didn't figure it out until well after the submissions had closed. But I'm doing this as a little bonus video for all of you because I'm extremely proud of how this puzzle turned out. It is very hard. It is well above what I normally go for in a puzzle. And I just kind of want to, throw the heads up. I'll put it in the thumbnail, not gas. But we haven't done one of those in a while. So I thought, screw it. I've got a little bit of time. And, the weird stop down between Christmas and New Year, you've probably got some time too. So, if you're new to the channel, we are Gas, Genuinely Approachable Sudoku. We create, set, and solve genuinely approachable Sudoku, even though this really isn't one. You will find the link to the puzzle in the hat times. You'll also find underneath thingy, whatchamacallit, links to Sudoku Theory, and links to our Patreons if you care to financially support any of us on the team. Yeah, that being said, let's have a look at today's puzzle. So I'm going to smash that restart button. So this is called Yoke after the medium build song. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So in each box, each row, and each column, you must place the digits 1 to 9 once each. Now, we have some diagonals throughout the grid. Along indicated diagonals, it must sum to the given total. So this one has sum 14, so does this one, etc., etc. Digits separated by a V must sum to 5, and digits separated by a 10 must sum to 10. All X's and V's are given. That is a negative constraint, which means that if two digits aren't separated by a V, they cannot sum to 5. That is bad. Similarly, if they are not separated by an X, they cannot sum to 10. That's it. That's all you need to know to solve the puzzle. I'm gonna recommend you give this one a go, but if you're just like, hey, I want to see something cool, or you want to like follow along, go for it. But that being said, I'm gonna get into it now. So, there's a couple of things that you're gonna want to notice about this puzzle right off the bat. So, we have a ring. We're going to need to make this ring work real hard for us. So here's how we start. First bit of information is nowhere along this ring can you put a 5. Now, that might seem a little counterintuitive if you've never seen it, but 5 plus something is going to be greater than 5. And if you have a 5 here, you need to place 2 5s, meaning it must sum to 10. So, there are 2 ways that this can go. I'm going to shade them in green just to make it yeah, I'm going for 2 different grays here. So there are 2 different ways that you can shade this gray. So they either go that way or that way, right? So those are the 2 different ways that you can place 5 around the outside. But when you place the 5 around the outside, there's always going to be a 5 on our 2 cell. Doesn't matter whether it goes that way or that way, there's always going to be a 5 on our 2 cell little killers. So what that means is Here's our first big deduction for this puzzle. We know what every single one of these two-cell little killers sums to and what its contents are. So that's really, really interesting. So here's our next deduction. Along here, one of the key things to think about is where do I place the digits 1, 2, 3, and 4? Now, with 1, 2, 3, and 4, I've always got to place 2 of them along here in the V's. And if I have an X, if I have 2 X's, that means that's going to take up 2 more 1, 2, 3, 4s, which means this is always going to be a high digit. So we know that if we know that fundamentally, we actually know where every single one of our 1, 2, 3, and 4s are. So, and you're like, how can we possibly know where all of them are? So I've shaded them in gray for a second, but because I know that this one and this one is going to contain a 1, 2, 3, and 4, it means that this must be a high digit, so this is a low digit. And similarly, we can do that around the grid with all of those. But remember what I said at the start. All X's and V's are given. So if this is a pair that's summed to 5, and this is another low digit, it means that this cell cannot be the other low digit because it would have to sum to 5 and there's no V connecting it. So that means I can actually do this, which is really cool. That is every single one of our 1, 2, 3, 4 shaded in column and row 2 and 8. Now, we can actually color these. We can color all of them. Now, the question becomes, how can we possibly do that? So, I'm going to shade this as, I'm going this way. So, I don't want to do Christmas colors, so I'm going to do it as red and yellow. I'll get rid of the, pardon me, I'm going to get rid of all of the grays for a second, because it's going to be a little bit more helpful if I do it like this. So, this is red and yellow. Now, we know that this is a low digit. What low, actually, sorry, my apologies. I'm going to make one of these yellow and one of these red. I'm going to do the other pair down here, green and blue, but we will get to that in a second. So, I do know that the green and the blue must be in these 2 cells. So, question becomes, if that's a low digit, what is that low digit? And the answer is, it's yellow. How do we know that it's yellow? Because if this, it can't be red because red's in the box, and if this was either of the 2 blue and green cells, then whatever this digit would have to repeat in the row. Like if this, if that's 1 and this is 1, then I would have to put 2 9s in there, which would break. And we can't have that. So, we know, weirdly, that this is yellow, which doesn't seem super, logical, but here we are. Now, because we know that this is yellow, we know that this cell must be red because it's the other one from the matching one. Now, this is our green-blue pair. We know that this cell has to be one of them, so I'm just going to make that one very arbitrarily green, and that one also has to be green, so this one is now blue. Now, we know that this has to be red and yellow, but we also know that this one is not the green cell, so it must be the blue cell, which actually resolves this thing up here. So that can't be green. That can't be blue, sorry. This can't be green, which makes this blue and green. Now, finally, we know that this cell has to be repeated. So this cell and this cell are the same, so I can make this both a yellow and a red. But then this cell sees this red over here. So we know that this is yellow, this can't be yellow, This is not red, and that's not yellow. So we have colored our 1, 2, 3, 4s in columns 2, 3, 4, and 8. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do this. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I should just do them all at once, but that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we can do some cool stuff. Now, we can do some cool stuff, and we can actually reduce each one of these down to 2 possible cells. Now, that I could go through and go 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, but let's do that in a second. So, there are 2 deductions you want to catch here. So, this blue cell, what is it? Well, it can't be 1. Why can't it be 1? Because I would need to put a 9 there, which is pretty bad. So, out of all the blue cells, I'm going to take 1 out. Now, similarly, that means that you can also take the 4 out of green for 2 reasons. One, if blue can't be 1, green can't be 4. But also down here, if I were to put a 4 in there, I can't put a 6 in there because of the 5, 6 pair in the box. Similarly, over here, yellow can't be 3, and red can't be 2. Because if you look in the box, red can't place a 2 in that one, yellow can't place a 3 in that one. Now, there's a sneakier thing. You may notice I've parity colored it. So, yellow, 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 yellow mean that this cell has to be yellow. Green, 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 and green mean that this cell has to be green. Red, 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 and red mean that this cell has to be red. And blue, 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 and blue mean that this cell has to be blue. Now, that gives us an additional deduction that we can make, which is yellow can't be 1. Why can't it be 1? Because 1 and 9, doesn't matter which one of these 2 cells 9 is in, 1 and 9 would make 10. We don't have an X indicating that. So, 1 can only be 2 or 4. Meaning red, you get the same deduction around the other side, which is because red's down here, red can never have a 4. So 1, 3. And then over here, 5 and 7. Green can never contain a 3. Green must contain a 1 and a 2. And blue can never contain a 2, so it must be 3 and 4. With me so far? I hope I've explained this pretty well, but I'm going to go through and neaten this up before I show you the secret of how we actually get a first digit. So this cell has to be 6 or 7. This cell has to be 6 or 8. 7 or 9. 6 and 7. 8 or 9. 7 or 9. 6 and 8. And that one's also 8 or 9. Cool? Now, there is one final big old deduction, which I really like and I'm very, very proud of. So, you may notice that we have 4 little killer clues around the outside. Now, the one you want to focus on is the 12. Now, it's not immediately apparent why it's the 12, but I'll get there in a second. You probably could get there on this one too, but I like the 12 for the purposes of explanation. So, here we go. We don't know what those cells are, but we definitely know they add up to 5, which is really, really cool. So, the question becomes, how do we make the other 7 in this cell and this cell? And I'll show you these as pink for a second. So we know that those 2 cells must sum to purple. Those 2 pink cells must sum to 7. Now, here's the trick. We only have 3 corner cases that we need to check. 1, 6, 2, 5, and 3, 4. Those are the only ways that you can make 7 in a puzzle like this. So, let's have a look at, we'll say 3, 4 for a second. Now, 3, 4 would actually mean that both of these cells must actually be low digits. And if they are low digits, that means we can color them. So this cell can't be red, can't be green, and it can't be blue because if it was blue, it would have to sum to 5, and we don't have a V there. So that cell would have to be yellow, which would be 2, 4. That's fine, that works. This cell, however, sees red, blue, and yellow, which means that this has to be green, which means this is a 1 and a 2. The second that this is a 2, we can't make 3, 4, which means it cannot be 2 low digits. We need to have a high digit somewhere along here. Now, the next one to check is 5 and 6. And, 2 and 5. But we have a weird thing going on. We know that thanks to that deduction we made earlier, just going to shade it to highlight it. If I have this light gray ring, it means that I can't place a 5 in there, and I can't place a 5 in there, because 5 would have to go there, and 5 would have to go here. But if I do it the other way, which is the dark gray ones, then 5 couldn't go here because I have a 5 here, and 5 couldn't go there because I have a 5 there. So it can never contain a 5 on that diagonal at all, which means it can't be 2 and 5. So, question becomes, it's 1 and 6. Do we know which way around it goes? The answer is yes. Here's how. So, when you look at these 4 cells, 1, 2, 1, 3, 3, 4, 2, 4, we know that these are the 4 low digits in the grid. But if you'll notice, there's no pairs, there's no triples, but red and green are the cells that must contain a 1. It's one of those two. We don't know which one it is yet. We're about to. But one of those two must contain a 1. Which means we could actually pencil mark where does 1 go along column 8. Right there. Which means that this cell cannot be a 1 and it must be a 6. So that is actually how you get your first digit 15 minutes into this puzzle. So, all right, 5, 6. We know that red has to be 3, yellow has to be 2, green has to be 1, blue has to be 4. We can actually now get rid of our coloring. We will not need it for the rest of this puzzle. 8, he says, and then immediately colors this out. Classic. 7, 5, 9, 6, 9, 5, 7, 8, 5, 8, 6, and 9, and 7. We are away. That is a big load of puzzles to get started. You can use the little killers for this next bit. Actually, I do use the little killers. Who am I kidding? All right. But this is... so 5 means that this needs to be 14. So it can either be 5, 9, 6, 8... no, 13, sorry. It needs to be 13. So this can only be 6, 7, or 9. So it can't be 7. And this is either 4 or 7. 3. Wait, can we do something a bit better? Maybe. Alright. Oh, actually, we can just do some regular Sudoku. 1 and 6 along here, mean that that's a 9. So that's a 1, 6 pair. 3, 7, and 8. Let's do this instead. So that is 4, 6, and 9. Oh, yeah. I've spent so long agonizing over the start of this puzzle that I forgot I actually have to do regular Sudoku. Oh, speaking of regular Sudoku, This can't be a 6 because 6 and 4 would make 10, so that's a 9, and this is a 4. That is also one of the things about this puzzle you may notice is because it is rotationally symmetrical, in the sense that it maps, these two digits are just going to be repeated. I'm not going to use that, but you could if you felt so inclined. I think it's fair. So this is this is a 2, 7, or an 8. If this is a two, this would have to be a 9, so that would break. 7 and 8, that's either a 3 or a 4, and it cannot be a 4 because of Sudoku. So that's 3, and that's 8. And let's go do this little killer clue over here. 5 means it has to be 9. Can't be 4, 5 because I have 4, 5 in the row. Can't be 1, 8. So it's either 2, 3, 6, or 7. And that one's just 2. Cool. So that's a 7. Now, let's clean up the rest of our Sudoku. 4 and 6 go there, meaning that this is a 4, 9 pair. 2, 7, 8 along here. 8, 2, 7. I want to show you one last really cute bit of this puzzle. If you are playing along at home, you have basically made it to the end. The rest of it is just truly Sudoku. But I was very proud of this little bit, which is, hey, this is a 1, 6 pair in the column, but the negative constraint releases it because 9 and 1 can't make 10 if it's not connected, so that's 6 and 1. What? 6. 7 can't go next to a 3, so that has to be 8 and 3. 4 can't go next to a 6, so this has to be the 4. That's 9. That's 9. And 2 can't go next to an 8, so that has to be 7, 2, and 7. 1, 5, and 7 to place here. 7 can't go in that cell. 1 can't go next to it, so that has to be 5. 1 in row 6 we already have, so that's a 7. 4, 5, and 8. 4 can't go next to the 1. We already have the 8 over here, so that's a 5. We have 4 in row 4, so that works. 3, 5, and 6 along here. But I can't place a 3 along here, so that has to be 5, 6, and 3. And then 2, 8, that can't be an 8, that's a 5. And 2 can't go next to the 3, so that's a 5, 9, 2. And now we are just doing some regular old Sudoku to finish up this puzzle. So that's 5, 8 and 7 go that way. 6 and 9 go this way. 4, 3, 1, and 2. And look, a little plug for artisanal Sudoku. But this has been Yoke by me, Bill Murphy. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I will see you tomorrow for a much more approachable Sudoku. Peace.